Right now, as you watch this screen, you're not just observing reality, you're actively creating it. And the science that proves this has been hidden in plain sight for over a century. Most people will scroll past this. A few will recognize the signal. What if I told you that every time you look at something, you're not just seeing it, you're bringing it into existence? That the act of observation literally collapses infinite possibilities into the single reality you experience? This isn't mysticism. This is quantum physics. And 99% of people have no idea they're wielding this power every single moment. Welcome back to Internal Signal, where science meets spirit and your reality begins to shift. I'm here to decode what they don't want you to know about the observer effect, and why understanding this changes everything. In 1909, a physicist named Jeffrey Taylor conducted an experiment that shattered our understanding of reality forever. He fired single photons, particles of light, at a barrier with two slits. Here's where it gets strange. When no one was watching, each photon somehow went through both slits simultaneously, creating an interference pattern on the screen behind. The particle existed in what scientists call superposition, all possible states at once. But the moment someone observed which slit the photon went through, reality changed. The photon chose one path. The interference pattern disappeared. The act of observation literally collapsed infinite possibilities into a single outcome. This is the observer effect, and it's not just happening in laboratories, it's happening in your life, right now, whether you realize it or not. Most people think reality is fixed, solid, unchangeable. They believe they're passive observers in a predetermined world. But quantum physics reveals the truth. You are not just witnessing your reality. You are actively participating in its creation. Now here's what they don't teach you in school. The observer in quantum mechanics isn't just any measuring device. It requires consciousness. It requires awareness. It requires you. Physicist Eugene Wigner proved this with his famous Wigner's friend thought experiment. He showed that consciousness itself is what collapses the quantum wave function. Not machines, not detectors. Conscious observation. Think about this. Every morning when you wake up, you're not stepping into a pre-made reality. You're collapsing thousands of probability waves with your very awareness. Your expectations, your beliefs, your focus. They're not just thoughts, they're reality creation tools. But here's the problem. 99% of people are unconscious observers. They're operating on autopilot, letting their subconscious programming collapse the same repetitive patterns over and over. They observe lack, so they create lack. They observe limitation, so they create limitation. They observe the same problems, so they recreate the same problems. They don't realize they're the ones choosing which reality to collapse into existence. The question is, what reality are you observing into being? Let me show you how this works in your daily life. Every time you focus on what's going wrong, you're acting as a quantum observer, collapsing more of that energy into your experience. Every time you expect disappointment, you're sending a signal to the quantum field about which timeline to manifest. But when you understand the observer effect, you can start observing intentionally. Instead of unconsciously observing your problems, you begin to consciously observe your solutions. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you observe what you're becoming. Instead of expecting the same patterns, you start observing new possibilities. This is why meditation works, why visualization works, why focused intention creates results. You're not just thinking positive, you're literally training yourself to become a conscious observer, collapsing the quantum probabilities that align with your highest timeline. The ancient mystics knew this. They called it Maya, the illusion that the physical world is solid and unchangeable. Modern physics has simply given us the scientific language to understand what they intuited. Reality is far more fluid than we've been taught. But knowing this intellectually isn't enough. You need the practical protocols. You need to understand how to tune your observation to the frequency of what you want to create. You need to learn how to shift your identity from unconscious reactor to conscious creator. Most people will hear this information and go back to unconscious observing. They'll collapse the same limited reality they've always known. But a few will recognize this as the signal they've been waiting for. Here's what I've discovered after years of studying the intersection between quantum physics and consciousness. The observer effect isn't just about what you focus on in meditation. It's about who you believe yourself to be, moment to moment. Your identity is your primary observation filter. It determines which quantum possibilities you can even perceive, let alone collapse into reality. Most people are trapped in an outdated identity, observing reality from an old version of themselves. They wonder why their life doesn't change, not realizing they're still observing from the same limited perspective. But when you understand the 7 fundamental keys to quantum observation, the specific protocols for shifting your identity at the quantum level, everything changes. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become a conscious architect of your experience. These aren't surface-level techniques. These are the deeper blueprints of reality creation that most people never discover. If this resonates with you, if you can feel the truth of what I'm sharing, then you're ready for the complete system. I've spent years reverse engineering how conscious observers actually operate. The specific methods for shifting your quantum observation, the precise protocols for collapsing the timeline you actually want to experience. All of this is detailed in The Quantum Bridge, a field guide to the 7 keys of reality creation. This isn't theory. These are the practical blueprints that bridge the gap between quantum possibility and lived reality. Inside, you'll discover the exact process for shifting your observational identity, how to detect which quantum field you're currently collapsed in, the 7-stage protocol for conscious reality selection, advanced techniques for timeline navigation that most people never learn, plus the bonus journal templates for tracking your quantum shifts. This is the deeper teaching, the complete system, the forbidden blueprints of reality. Remember, right now, you are observing reality into existence. The question is whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously. Most people will watch this and go back to unconscious observation. They'll collapse the same limited patterns they've always known. But you have a choice. You can continue being an unconscious observer, letting reality happen to you. Or you can step into your power as a conscious creator, understanding that every moment of awareness is an opportunity to collapse a new timeline into being. The signal has been given. The choice is yours. If this unlocked something for you, subscribe to Internal Signal. We are building a community of conscious observers who understand that reality is far more malleable than most people realize. And here's what I want you to do right now. In the comments below, share a personal experience when you felt like your observation or attention actually influenced an outcome in your life. Maybe it was a moment of synchronicity. Maybe it was when focused intention created unexpected results. Share your observer effect story. Let's show the universe that we're ready for the deeper teachings. Until next time, keep observing consciously,